Hey y'all, welcome to Art of the Budget. My name is Nicole. My pronouns are she and her, and I live in the Pacific Northwest on what is the traditional territory of the Coast Salish nations, multiple. I am going to share with you today some of my low waste faves, so some of the things that I use on a nearly daily basis to just create a little less waste in the world. This video is going to be coming out the week that the United States celebrates Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is a very complicated and fraught holiday, and that's another video, but it's also the week that sometime in the last 20 years, this thing called Black Friday started happening. Now, for sure, this big day of sales can be really useful. If you know exactly what you want, this might be the day you get the best deal on it, and that is cool for sure. But also, it's just kind of this day that is really like built up around, I feel like, kind of blind consumerism. And so I wanted to share a few Lily's faves, but before I get started, I just want to be really clear that these are just things that I do on the daily to create a little less waste. Things like, you know, my morning routine, it could potentially create waste every day, and this is just one way that I kind of cut that down. But honestly, our system is not set up currently to really foster people doing things with less waste. Things with no packaging, just like onions and potatoes, for example, are cheaper. And so when I'm able to pay a little more for like potatoes or onions with no packaging, I do. And if I'm not able to, I don't. Really, this is change like on an environmental scale that needs to happen at a industrial and government level, and we can influence that. We can influence that with some of our economic decisions. We can influence that with how we communicate with our elected officials. We can influence it a little, but at the end of the day, it's not on us. I don't think it's really acceptable, and you shouldn't feel like it's on you to like fix this problem. It just needs to be happening at a higher level. That said, we can do a few things to, you know, act closer to our values when it's possible, and when it's easy and economically feasible. So I'm just going to share a few things that help me do that. Most of these things are actually things that I've just picked up, acquired. Most of them aren't necessarily like kind of trendy items that I bought specifically for being low waste, although I do have a couple of those things and I'll share them with you, and I feel like they were good investments, but again, most of it is just sort of stuff I've acquired along the way. So let's get into it. All right, so first of all, morning routine. I have this French press, and I love it because the filter is already built in. It's just like, I mean, as long as I have coffee in the house, I have everything I need, and I just really appreciate that. I hate running out of things like toilet paper or like dishwashing liquid or something, and so like not having to worry about running out of coffee filters is just really amazing. So I first got one of these. It was like half the size at a thrift store, and I was like, maybe this would be useful. So it was a couple dollars. I bought it, and I used that for a really long time, and it broke. The glass part broke. And my housemate at the time, I'm not really sure why. It was very sweet of her though. She bought me this one. Since then, I've actually found another small size one at the thrift store, and I like that for my morning coffee because that's how much I will drink in a day. So I use that, but I've got this around in case I have guests. If you like a espresso, I also have this percolator. Sorry for that noise. And it also has the filter built in, which I really love. This was a gift from my parents. They went on a trip to Italy and they brought it back for me. They have one of these, and I used it I saw it being used growing up, and so they got this for me. The plastic handle did come off, but it's still fine. You just use a little pad thing. An oven mitt, that's what that's called. Okay, so once I make my coffee, I put it into this stainless steel container. I had a plastic one that I got from this art center that I worked at, So I do have that as a backup, but I guess I worry a little bit about putting hot liquids in plastic. But this I found at the thrift store for a couple bucks. I don't think it's from IKEA. And it's pretty beat up. It was pretty beat up when I got it at the thrift store, but it works really well. And what I love is that it keeps my coffee hot, but honestly, I'm not a big stickler about that. I love that it's leak proof. So this I can just throw in my bag. I don't have to worry about it leaking. So yeah, there were 2 that day at the thrift store, and I kind of wish I would have bought both just in case I lose this. But yeah, I also have a hydro flask, really similar to this, but it has a little handle that you hold, and it's by the brand Hydro Flask. It's in my car right now. I use that for water when I'm like out and about, but honestly, I work in an office, like I work in a college. I'm there all day, so I usually just drink out of a jar, which I will talk about jars in a second. Okay, so I also make my breakfast in the morning. I make the same thing every day, and then I put it into this little container. So I feel like these have kind of come into vogue recently, but this I actually bought maybe 15 or 20 years ago on a trip to New York City in Chinatown, just in one of those little like houseware stores. And I don't remember how much it was, but I bet it was a couple bucks. I've just kind of carried it around, and recently it's become, I used to just like keep rocks or whatever things I'd find in it, or I don't know, we use it as storage, but now I've started using it for my breakfast in the morning. And when I travel, it's kind of nice to carry, to have like a little container that you can use if necessary, because it's really light. I also have glass Tupperwares, Pyrex brand, and I put my lunches in them. You've probably seen them in my meal prep videos if you've ever watched. I'll link one below. And I just forgot to bring them over here, but they're just those Pyrex ones with plastic lid. They're pretty great. They're nice because you can microwave them, so that's why I put my lunch in those. Okay, so speaking of lunch, I also have just some little napkins that I got at Target, and I always carry this little wooden spoon. I bought this somewhere in Maine for like $1. And then I have these stainless steel chopsticks. I used to live in Japan, so I actually have a bunch of chopsticks, but these a friend gave to me. She actually gave me a pair of stainless steel ones, and I lost them. I lost my whole little like carry bag, which was a bummer, on the bus, and so she found me another pair. So they're just nice because they're light and easy to clean, and that's what I use for my lunch. You can pretty much eat anything with these 2 things. If I really want to though, sometimes I'll just throw a fork from the drawer in my bag, and I just have that in my bag that I take my lunch in. A lot of times I'll bring all of my lunches at the beginning of the week, or I'll bring something big and frozen, as I've been doing lately, and then I just bring home anything that's dirty or whatever as needed. Okay, so moving right along. Oh yeah, I have my most favorite thing. I got this, I think in like 2013. It's a Soda Stream, and just ignore it, it's like a little dirty. It has it carbonates water. When I was in grad school, we used to drink so much LaCroix that our studios would be overflowing with LaCroix cans. And so I bought this back then. You just put the water in the bottle that comes with it. You screw it in right here, and you press this button. It's not going to do anything right now because there's no pressurization. And it carbonates the water. And then when you need to, this big CO2 cartridge can just be brought to the grocery store and exchanged. It costs about 16 bucks for a new one, and then they refill the old one. So it's pretty awesome. I've been using it since 2013, so it's like 6 years, more than that. There are years where I just don't really use it. I'm not that into the carbonated water, but like I'm, again, right now, really into it. Okay, so of course I have my own grocery bags. I like to go to the thrift store to find these things. Of course there's like those nice bags from like Trader Joe's or something. I see people using those a lot, and they might be a little more practical, but I like to find cute ones at the thrift store, like this one and like this one. And also have a few things in here to show you. But also like this, I really like this specifically for my bulk jars, which I'll talk about in a second. For grocery shopping, I like to use produce and bulk bags. And I just, again, kind of get these from anywhere. Like this is a great bag for like a smaller item like rice. And this is just like a cute little bag my sister got me at an art fair, a craft fair. This is great for either for like a bulk grain or for like Brussels sprouts or carrots, something that comes in, if something is like a thing of broccoli, I'll just put it in my cart. But like Brussels sprouts or things that are like in multiple pieces, like green beans, this is great for. This I made last time I visited my family. I just borrowed my mom's sewing machine, and this was an old sheet she was getting rid of, so it's like a sheet from my childhood. This is also great for produce. I personally have never owned a pair of Toms, so I can't remember where this came from, but it's just really useful. So yeah, I just kind of collect stuff like that to use while I'm grocery shopping, so I don't have to use so many plastic bags. Sometimes I forget them and then I use a plastic bag. It's fine. Okay, so when I'm going shopping for bulk stuff, a lot of times I'll just bring jars. I'm like a huge fan of jars. I just find them at the thrift store, or I reuse ones from like food I've eaten that came in a jar. But these are really nice. These big ones I got at the thrift store for a few bucks, and they're really nice for like rice or black beans or something I cook a lot of. I do like finding like cute things at the thrift store also. So like this cute little jar, I got it at the thrift store. Or no, I got this at a yard sale. But this, I just go to the store. I go to our co-op here, but also like Fred has bulk food and bulk spices. So I just fill them up. And like this is chili powder. This is just like another cute jar that I found. I think this was from the thrift store. Yeah, so the jars fit really well in this basket that I got at Value Village. And I just keep, as I like run out of an ingredient, you can kind of see on this, I've written the tear. So when I go to the store, I can take the weight of the jar off of my purchase. And I just keep a permanent marker in here so it's ready to go when I need to. All right, last couple of things. These are actually the things that I kind of bought on purpose, whereas the other stuff I kind of just found or had and then made it work. Okay, so you've probably heard of those beeswax wraps. Someone did give me some a while ago, but I kind of couldn't get into them. And they were also really thick, so I felt like they were hard to like fold. But I did find these on the internet and bought them, and I'm really happy with them. They are basically beeswax bags, and they come in a variety of sizes. And they're basically just, yeah, like a bag, and they have the beeswax on them. So if you put something in them, you can kind of seal it in. These work great for produce. Like if I buy kale and I kind of process it, take all the ribs out, clean it, and then roll it up in a dish towel, I can then put it in here and it will keep for like a solid 2 weeks. Just like that. So you've probably heard like rolling up your lettuce or your greens in a paper towel. So you can use a dish towel and then put it in here. So it's a pretty good substitute for some things that you would use plastic bags for. I was kind of hoping this would work for keeping bread in, but it really doesn't. So if anyone has any really good ideas for what to keep bread in, I just keep reusing my housemate's bread bags. So yeah, these waxed cotton bags are really great. You can also put things in them, so kind of use them the way you would the wraps. But yeah, they've just really worked for me and for like what I do in the kitchen. I don't really use plastic wrap too much. So yeah, I just use plastic bags more. So these have been great. Something else I started using, and these are in use right now, is these stasher bags. I really like the stasher ones. I feel like they're like a good company, small business. So I used this one for cheese. You can see there's just a little left. So when I'm done with this, I will scrub it out with warm soapy water, let it dry completely, and then put cheese back in. And basically I used to just use a plastic Ziploc, and I just use the same bag over and over and over again for as long as I could, and then throw it out and use a new one. In this case, I just use it over and over and over again, and then wash it and then start fresh. And this is for after I've unwrapped my cheese. I'm personally a big cheese lover, so I always have a few kinds of cheese. And then the other thing I would use the same way, a Ziploc that I would use over and over again, is frozen bananas. I make smoothies or like dessert or whatever with these, and I would just keep the same bag, and frankly I would just keep it in the freezer, and then when I had more bananas I'd fill it back up. So I just got this gallon size stasher bag, and it's been working really well. They both work great. Like, I don't see any mold or anything. I did try a Tupperware with the cheese and I noticed it molded faster, so I think this is because it keeps the air out. I don't really know, but I found it works really, really well. So I'll link both of those companies down below. And then the last thing I got was, I was always using like a sponge, and then I would get gross, and then I get a new sponge, and like that's fine, but I got really into the brushes like this that were plastic, and they were great. So I have one actually that I use. It has stiffer bristles and it's plastic. I've had it for a long time, and I use it for my cast iron, and I'll keep using it, of course, till it dies. But the last time I was like, okay, I'm gonna need a new sponge, I went ahead and got this. I got this from the website Life Without Plastic, and I got it about a year ago. I got it last November, and it's wood and metal and boar hair. So you can take all the metal parts out, and you can compost the rest, which is pretty cool. I've used it for a year. It works great. It is supposed to be kind of refillable, but this part has gotten really loose, so I find that pretty annoying. So I'm gonna go check out this zero waste store in Seattle this weekend, on Black Friday actually, and see if I can get a replacement for it. But yeah, it's worked for a year. I feel like because it sits up in the jar in the sink, it doesn't get like gross. Yeah, I'm gonna probably get another one of those and hope that it lasts for another year. All right, so those are a few of the things that I use on a daily or nearly daily basis to create a little less waste. I just wanna remind you that this is not to make you feel guilty, and also like if these things are all really easy for me, and if they're not, or they're not affordable, I don't do them because I'm just trying to live within my means. So yeah, let me know down below if there's anything that you use that you love, or if there's anything that you use that I mentioned. Let me know if you like it too. I will talk to you later. Bye.